data center hosted by Raging Wire in Sacramento. We have a shadow environment being built in Virginia to service our European and international customers now as they build up. We signed Vodafone on demand a couple of quarters ago, and so that's going to be a large telco that will go live this year, and we need to have reduced latency, hence our investment in the Virginia environment. Let me just skip on to this. This is the core of our story today. So we think about how companies engage salespeople, and we think about each of these solution sets and each of these business problem sets and how we address them. And at the either end, this is really the hire to fire life cycle of a salesperson, and we're focused on automating as much of that as we can. And we have a very specific point of view that is very different from the general employee talent management approach. Salespeople have very specific needs. There's a body of research out there that says that salespeople do not move frequently in disciplines within companies and do not tend to leave their sales role in a company and move to a new discipline in another company. In other words, many salespeople tend to be lifers. Once they get on quota, they stay in that career path for most of their career. It's an astonishingly rigid, static employment pool compared to other disciplines. As a result, they have different needs, and companies have different needs when employing salespeople. And our original goal by automating incentives was to speed up the strategy, so allow people to incentivize these complex environments, cascade them very quickly, and automate that process, pay accurately, and avoid leakage. So many of our customers simply buy the core commission solution because they eradicate leakage. What I mean by that is, particularly when you have third parties claiming commissions from you as a company, as an insurance vendor, or as an automotive dealer, or as a telco, you have lots of independent channels. The scope for error is massive, and leakage is massive. One of our telco customers here this year has just gone live with our solution, and we're spending or losing $20 million last year, and their total this year, their spend this year is $5 million, so a $15 million saving, just on the hygienic aspect of automating commissions. It's a massive, compelling ROI. But beyond that, we think of these other solution sets. So just goaling people correctly can improve efficiency by 5%. If we can improve leakage by 5% by managing the incentives and rewards components and automating them, managing them rigorously, there's another 5% there. Our new coaching solution that we released last quarter in partnership with ForceLogix is a solution that takes some of the performance data, the commissions data from our environment, takes data from CRM and other customer environments, and creates a formal coaching roadmap for a sales force. The proposition there is a 5% improvement in efficiency. And the sales audience that we're selling to there are heads of sales. And if you go to a head of sales today and they want to bet on a 5% improvement in efficiency, they'll take the bet. So the coaching and performance solution is building up nicely. Independently, that solution has been sold alongside Callidus to Lenovo already, and also to Gilead, a pharma company in California already. And we're hoping to expand that. And we have exclusive resale rights for the next 2 years in the world to sell that solution. So that sits right alongside our core commission solution. At the either end of the spectrum here of the life cycle, the hire and, if you like, fire, those are products that we release in the fall of this year, and you'll see more announcements about the detail of those products in coming months. And that really completes this sales talent life cycle. Every part of the solution set can be acquired and implemented in a modular fashion discreetly, but the real value comes when you cascade the solution across this sales talent life cycle. In the hiring piece, we have a very specific point of view that it's not about general applicant tracking and talent management. What we found out in our insurance research is that there's a very specific need to have targeted selection of salespeople, to acquire certain data about their performance in the past and to test them prior to selection and hiring. And so we're going to bring out a solution for that in the fall. The business continuity piece at the other end of the spectrum is just a polite way of talking about firing salespeople or letting salespeople go. And what happens today when salespeople are let go, there's an HR focus in terms of the individual, salesperson hasn't performed, or a salesperson decides to leave. The book of business that salesperson owns is often a secondary issue. There's no automation around tracking what happens to that book of business, how it's renewed, reviewed, and handed over. There's no timeline for future reviews of what's gone on. It's a very HR-focused process, and our solution, built in concert with one of our clients, is going to be about managing the book of business of the salesperson that moves on, so about business continuity. So from hire to fire is where we are today, where we're headed, versus just the pure play commissions. Operationally, we're absolutely the best in the pure play commissions business, but our customers who essentially build this roadmap with us are looking for more in terms of the management of the sales talent pool inside a company or outside a company if it's independent agents, as in the case of the insurance business. Just talk about our financial results. Our recurring revenue, as I said, is beginning to dominate the P&L. We had Q1 revenues of 16.2 million. 76% of the revenues are recurring now. And the notable thing about Q1 is that our deferred revenue jumped significantly. So our revenue plus the change in deferred revenue was very significant, but that's a record deferred revenue so far. Our on-demand payees is increasing count is increasing daily. We're up to almost 150,000 on-demand payees actually now. And our operating expenses have been consistently coming down. When I took over 2 years ago, the operating expenses had peaked at $17 million a quarter, and we're down to well below $9 million on a non-GAAP basis now. And fairly steady OPEX reduction, and we see further significant reductions in Q3 rather, and Q4 of this year. As I mentioned, we acquired ActechSoft in January, and we formed a partnership with the performance and coaching vendor ForceLogix last month. So the real story is recurring, and we've seen a move downwards in the top line revenue, partly because of the difficult economy of 2009, but mainly because of our focus on bookings and recurring revenue. So our on-demand business and our term license business are becoming more significant for us as we move forward. Last year, it was our second highest year of new customer signings in 2009, despite the recession. But we signed less deals that had revenue up front, less license deals. Just take a look at the deferred and recurring revenue trends. So moving in the right direction with deferred, and we expect that to be a continuing story throughout 2010. Another feature of our business that's relatively new is we now have 80 on-demand customers, 80 plus. When we signed Lenovo as the first customer, we typically would go out and sign 1-year deals with customers. We had to prove the point that this was a sustainable business, that they were going to get value. Our retention rates are all in the 90% in maintenance and in the on-demand business, 90% plus. Last quarter we had very little attrition in either the maintenance or the on-demand business, and in Q2 we have very little attrition, practically zero attrition in the on-demand and maintenance business. So it's a very, very sticky solution, and we also keep adding functionality and capability. But very significantly, we've had a number of customers now signing up to multi-year deals in the past few months. So we've had Cadence, Citrix, Brocade, and one other one I can't remember, but Lenovo signed up to a 3-year deal. So we've got customers coming along signing 2- and 3-year deals now. So when we finish with Lenovo, it'll have been a 6-year relationship. Quite a bit more revenue than a license, and quite a bit more satisfaction for them because we're managing the environment. So the multi-year deal phenomenon is relatively new for us, and we're beginning to see that increase, and we hope to sign some more very significant multi-year deals in the coming days. That really concludes the short presentation. I think we've got some time for some questions and answers. Ron Fior, who's our CFO, is here as well, so we'll take any questions. We've got some time.